screenshots.
To pass all the test cases.
So test execution evidence means for every test case functional flow, we are capturing relevant screenshots in a Word document. Suppose creation of order. So we have to capture relevant screenshots in that Word document. So we have to prepare test execution evidences and we can upload in the SharePoint. That is the evidence that all system functionalities are correctly working fine or not. Okay. And for any of the project, what are the types of testings that can be done? Yesterday we discussed.
Automatic testing, sir.
We will do regression testing and progression testing. Okay, we will do regression testing and progression testing. So progression testing means nothing but new functionalities. Regression testing means nothing but existing functionalities. So to do entire manual testing for 900 test cases is almost taking 60 days. But to complete entire automation testing, we can complete it within 2 days itself. Okay, within 2 days itself. So which is the best approach? Automation testing. So this is what we discussed yesterday. Now let's continue the second part. Selenium language, Selenium code, we can write in different languages as Java, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, and C#. We can write in any of the languages, but we are learning Selenium Java, and 90% of the projects they are using Selenium Java combination only. That's why huge openings on Selenium Java. And what are the other automation tools are available in market? It's like Tosca, UFT. UFT is a Microsoft product, and Tosca is Tricentis companies related to Tosca company. So these are licensed softwares. In order to install in your laptop, you must have to pay lots of dollars of amount. You have to take patent rights. And what is the importance of Selenium? Selenium is an open source software to automate any of the web applications. So you no need to pay any of the license. It's a freeware completely. You can download it freely from the net itself. Okay. And Selenium supports browser compatibility testing. So what is mean by browser compatibility testing? The test scripts, it can be executed on required browser combinations. Suppose you have written 100 lines of code. In the first line, you mentioned you want to execute your script on Chrome browser. Okay. But and the client is asking, I want to execute on Edge browser. In the first line, you have to change it Edge browser so that all entire lines of code, it will be executed on Edge browser. And if in the first line, if you will specify Firefox browser, so all lines will be executed on Firefox browser. So Selenium scripts, it can support browser compatibility testing. Okay. Whereas in Tosca or UFT tools, every browser specific, you must have to write separate programs. Chrome browser specific, Firefox browser specific. So, but the most advantage of Selenium is it can support browser compatibility testing. You no need to write every Chrome browser specific. You no need to write automation scripts. Just you need to change one line of code. And Selenium grid. Selenium grid means suppose I am having this system and I am having 4 more laptops. So I can call it as a node system. Each laptop I can call it as a node system. So from the main system, I can distribute my test execution among multiple systems. Suppose I want to execute total 1000 test cases. And in node 1, means in laptop 1, I want to execute 200. And in laptop 2, I want to execute remaining 200. And in laptop 3, I want to execute remaining 200. So like that, I can distribute my test execution among multiple systems, among multiple node systems. We can call this concept as a Selenium grid. If there is no Selenium grid, what is the disadvantage? Means all 1000 script you have to execute in the same system. So it might take long time. Okay. Suppose if you come for Tosca or UFT tools, okay, whenever you come for Tosca or UFT tools, what will happen? You have to buy extra license for every software. Okay. So again, it's a maintenance cost. And coming to next point, so you will write your Selenium script, right? Launch Chrome browser, enter username, enter password, click on login button. So every input values you have to give it in an Excel file, username, password, address line 1, address line 2, mobile number, all the input data you will give in an Excel sheet. Whenever your Selenium program is executing, you are getting all the input data from the Excel file, from external files such as Notepad or Excel files or CSV files. So this concept we can also call it as a data-driven framework. So in real time, all the input data we will maintain either in Excel or Notepad or CSV files combination. So getting of test data from the external file system is very easy in Selenium. And coming to last point, parallel testing. Parallel testing means the test scripts can be executed in parallel. Suppose in system 1, you are executing 200. In system 2, you are executing 200. In system 3, we are executing another 200. This concept, we called it as a Selenium grid feature. In system 1, you have a target of to execute 200 test cases. Suppose you opened Chrome browser and in Chrome browser, in tab 1, you are executing one test case. In tab 2, you are executing another test case. In tab 3, you are executing third test case. So at a time, you can able to execute 5 or 6 test cases by opening different tabs. So it's not like that all 200 test cases has to execute one by one. So in every iteration, you can pick 5 test cases and let's execute. After completion of 5, let's pick the next 5 and execute it. So Selenium supports parallel testing. Okay. So by using TestNG framework, we can able to execute the programs parallelly. Okay. So this feature, we can call it as a parallel testing. And Selenium Java, in Selenium Java, total we are covering 2 live projects. One is on Cucumber framework. Nowadays projects, most of the projects are running on Cucumber framework, BDD Cucumber framework. 60% of the companies are using BDD and 40% of the companies, they are using hybrid framework. So we will cover the project, developing the automation frameworks in Cucumber and hybrid. After completion of this course, you can able to automate any of the website by using BDD Cucumber framework approach or by using hybrid framework approach. I can give you 100% assurance on that. After completion of the course, anyone can able to develop the automation scripts by using these 2 frameworks. And BDD Cucumber framework, we are covering for 2 weeks. Completely, we are working on BDD Cucumber framework for 2 weeks. And for hybrid framework, completely, we are working for 1 week. What is the point? So completely, we are working for 1 week. Okay, now let's come back. So to execute your Selenium programs, what is the minimum laptop configuration is required? Minimum, you have to take i5 laptop. Okay, the system processor, it should be minimum i5 and 64-bit operating system. And you can take Windows 10 or Windows 11 operating system. And RAM is minimum 4 GB and 8 GB. So minimum is 4 GB. Okay. And if it is 8 GB or 16 GB, it's an excellent configuration. So the minimum RAM you have to take. So you should be ready with your laptops on Monday's class onwards. Okay, get ready with your laptops from Monday's class onwards. So we can do the installation on Tuesday's class. First 3 classes are completely demo free. On Tuesday class onwards, we can continue the Selenium installation class. Okay, guys. Coming to Selenium installation, to install Selenium in your laptop, these are the 4 softwares has to be ready. One is Eclipse. So Eclipse is an editor where we will write our Selenium program. Okay. So it's an editor. We will launch the Eclipse and we will write our Selenium programs in the Eclipse editor itself. And the next one is Java and TestNG. The moment when you will install Eclipse, automatically Java also installed. So no need to do especially going and installing of Java. And the next one is TestNG. So once after installing Eclipse, in the Eclipse, you need to navigate to some module, some file menu, and you have to select the option as TestNG, and you have to install TestNG software in the Eclipse. Okay. So TestNG software, TestNG kuda manam install cheyali Eclipse software lo. Next one is to execute your programs minimum Chrome browser or Edge browser or Firefox browser. These are the browsers are required. Okay. Now the next one is WebDriver.exe. In Selenium 3, we have to download WebDriver.exe. We have to download WebDriver.exe. For Chrome browser, there is a ChromeDriver.exe. Okay. And for Firefox browser, there is a WebDriver GecoDriver.exe. And for Edge browser, there is a WebDriver called EdgeDriver.exe. Means for every web browser, corresponding WebDriver.exe we have to download if you are using Selenium 3 version. But Selenium 3 is an outdated version now. Nowadays, in all companies, they are using Selenium 4 version. And we are also learning Selenium 4 only. Okay. So you no need to download WebDriver.exe file. But whenever you are learning Selenium 3, you must have to download ChromeDriver.exe in your C drive. You have to save that WebDriver.exe. So for Chrome browser, you have to download ChromeDriver.exe. For Firefox browser, you have to download GecoDriver.exe. And for Edge browser, you have to download EdgeDriver.exe. But in Selenium 4 onwards, you no need to download this WebDriver.exe files. Okay. Because whenever the program is executing, automatically that ChromeDriver.exe file will be downloaded in your temporary folders. From there onwards, your program will be referred and executed. I will tell you. You have written in your Eclipse, you have written a Selenium program. Selenium program like launch Chrome browser, enter username, enter password, and click on login button. So these are the 4 set of driver commands you have written. And every request, it will go to WebDriver.exe. Suppose you have written a program, launch Chrome browser, enter username, enter password. Every command, it will go to ChromeDriver.exe. Okay, if it is Chrome browser, the request, it will go to ChromeDriver.exe. And ChromeDriver.exe will forward that request to Chrome browser. Okay, and same commands. So if it is, you have written some driver commands, launching Chrome browser, enter username, password, login button. So these instruction, it will go to EdgeDriver.exe, and EdgeDriver.exe will forward that request to Edge browser. So your set of driver commands will be executed on Edge browser. So between Selenium program and the browser, what is the mediator? WebDriver. So WebDriver.exe, we can call it as a mediator or interface. Okay. So WebDriver.exe, we can call it as a mediator or interface between Selenium program and Chrome browser. Because every command, the ChromeDriver.exe forwarding the request to Chrome browser. So that's why WebDriver.exe, we are calling it as a mediator or interface. Hope everyone is understood as of now. Everyone is clear. Okay, right. So can anybody tell me what is mean by Selenium grid?
Selenium grid, executed test cases in multiple systems.
Executing test cases. Executing test cases in among multiple systems. Okay. So distributing, best word in the distributing test cases among multiple systems is known as Selenium grid. ఇంకా Selenium advantage ఇంకేం చెప్పాను చెప్పండి. ఆన్లైన్ పీపుల్ చెప్పండి.
Chrome browser.
స్టోరీ చెప్తున్నట్టుగా ఉన్నట్టుంది అందరికి. చెప్పండి.
Browser compatibility.
బ్రౌజర్ కంపాటబిలిటీ టెస్టింగ్. అంటే ఏంటి బ్రౌజర్ కంపాటబిలిటీ టెస్టింగ్ అంటే ఏంటి? తెలుగులో వద్దు.
We can execute Chrome or Edge.
We can execute scripts
from different browsers like
in different browser combinations like Edge, Chrome, Firefox. So just we have to change the first line only, so that entire script will be executed on corresponding browser. First line మనం modify చేస్తే చాలు. Okay, right. ఇంకా ఏంటి features?
Parallel execution.
Parallel execution means the test scripts can be executed in parallel. So TC01 create order, TC02 modify order, TC03 delete order. Every test script, it can be executed on corresponding tab. So corresponding tab. So we can execute scripts parallelly. Inga main point చెప్పాలి నాకు. ఆన్లైన్ పీపుల్ చెప్పండి. స్టోరీ ఇంటర్నెట్ రిలాక్స్ గా ఉన్నారా గైస్? ఫస్ట్ పాయింట్ ఏం చెప్తారు? Anyone?
It is an open source.
Yes. It is an open source software. You no need to buy any of the license. Okay. It is a freeware. Anyone can able to download it. ఇంకో పాయింట్ మెయిన్ పాయింట్ ఇంకోటి ఏంటో చెప్పాను నేను. It's easy to manage test data, reading input data from the Excel files, CSV files from Notepad and Selenium. Maintaining of test data is very easy in Selenium. Okay, right. All right. So Selenium open source software. Okay. To install Selenium, what are the softwares are required? Eclipse, Java, TestNG,
driver.
Browsers. For Chrome browser, we have to download chromedriver.exe. But Selenium 4 low, you no need to download. Okay. So that's it on the background of Selenium. Now let's jump into the next point. గైస్ నిన్నటి క్లాస్ ఇవాళ వీడియో అప్లోడ్ చేసి మీకు లింక్ షేర్ చేస్తాను. క్లాస్ అయిపోగానే షేర్ చేస్తాను ఇవాళ నుండి. సో ఓపెన్ సోర్స్ ఆరెంజ్ హెచ్ఆర్ఎం ఇది ఒక హెచ్ఆర్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ అప్లికేషన్ గైస్. ఓకేనా. సో ఇదేంటంటే ఒక శాంపిల్ అప్లికేషన్. ఆటోమేషన్ ప్రాక్టీస్ కోసం అందరూ ఇదే వెబ్సైట్ యూజ్ చేస్తారు. ఎవ్రీ వన్ విల్ యూజ్ దిస్ శాంపిల్ వెబ్సైట్ ఫర్ ఆటోమేషన్ ప్రాక్టీస్. ఓకే. సో ఇన్ So what we can call this one in web terminology? దీని ఏమంటాం? We can call it as a
web element.
What we can call this one?
Text field.
Okay, what we call? Button. And what we can call? Link, hyperlink. So in web terminology, every web component we are calling with different names. And these we can call it as a labels. Labels means information purpose for the user. Okay. So in web terminology, every web component having some name. You text fields, button, hyperlink, labels, like that. But in Selenium terminology, everything we can call it as a web element. So username is one web element, password is one web element, login is one web element, forgot your password is one web element. Everything we can call it as a one web element. Okay. And for every web element, developer will give some name and ID. Okay. So let me open my notepad. Every web element having some name and ID. So prati web element ki name or ID ane properties unte. See, myself, I am a human and I am having some name, Sudhakar. Okay. Suppose if I will join in an organization, my name is Sudhakar and they will give me some employee ID. So similarly, whenever developer is developing for any of the web element, developer will give some name and ID for that particular web element. So I want to know what is the name of this username, what is the name and ID had been given for this particular text field. So, and similarly, I want to know what is the name and ID had been given for password and what is the name and ID had been given for login button. I want to know. So if I want to know what is the name and ID of this particular web element, what I have to do?
Inspect.
We have to do inspect. Okay. So I'm right clicking on this web element and click on inspect. Inspect మీద click చేయాలి. దీని మీద right click చేసి I have to click on inspect. So I have to do right click and I have to click on inspect. సో ఇక్కడ మీరు అబ్జర్వ్ చేసినట్టయితే నేమ్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు యూజర్ నేమ్ అని కనపడుతుందా? నేమ్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ అంటే నేను ఎప్పుడైతే దీని మీద రైట్ క్లిక్ చేశానో డెవలపరు అంటే ఈ టెక్స్ట్ ఫీల్డ్ కి రాసిన కోడ్ ఇది. ద డెవలపర్ హ్యాడ్ రిటర్న్ దిస్ కోడ్ ఫర్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్. సో ఇఫ్ యూ అబ్జర్వ్ నేమ్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు యూజర్ నేమ్, ప్లేస్ హోల్డర్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు యూజర్ నేమ్, బట్ ఐడి ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు there is no ID. So developer had not provided ID value. So let me take. యూజర్ నేమ్ అనే వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ కి ఓకే నేమ్ ఏమి ఇచ్చాడు?
name equal to user name.
నేమ్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు యూజర్ నేమ్. ఐడి ఇవ్వలేదు కదా, ఐడి ఇవ్వలేదు కాబట్టి బ్లాంక్ పెట్టేయండి. ఓకేనా? సో ఫర్ ఎవ్రీ వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ అలాంగ్ విత్ నేమ్ అండ్ ఐడి ఇట్ ఈస్ హ్యావింగ్ వన్ మోర్ ప్రాపర్టీ కాల్డ్ ఎక్స్పాత్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు అని కూడా ఉంటుంది. అది కూడా చూద్దాం. So let's see what is an XPath of a particular for this particular web element. So username, once you click on inspect of this particular web element, go to click on these three dots and go to copy and take copy XPath. Copy XPath and this copy full XPath and this. So now I am taking copy XPath. So
Copy expand తీసుకుంటారా? Expand.
అసలు రాయరు.
రాయరు లేదు. Real time
ఒక్క నిమిషం.
practice.
So for every web element, it contains some property as name is equal to username, ID blank, and XPath we can take like this. Okay. And I want to know the password web element, what is the name and ID. So let's inspect. Right click and click on inspect. So go to these three dots, copy and copy XPath. So XPath in first is I'm taking XPath of the password. And a password web element XPath. So password web element XPath is this one. And I have to take name is equal to emitter and ID is equal to what they had given. Okay, let me check. A password, right? Okay, let me click on inspect. Name is equal to password. And ID is equal to, developer had not given ID. Okay, so if developer is not giving ID, we can take name. Okay, let's take for login button as well. So right click and click on inspect. So developer had given name property or not? Can anybody tell me? No. ID has been given or not? So now what I have to refer? XPath of that particular web element. So to take the XPath, just click on these three dots, go to copy and take copy XPath. So this is login button XPath. So now we understood every web element contains three properties. What is those? What are those? Name.
Name, XPath.
Username,
Okay, this is the common
ID.
So this is the common basic information. Okay. So every web element contains these properties. Okay. Now let's go and write some sample login program. Now let's go and write some sample login program in Selenium. So how to automate a login page? So ఈ వెబ్సైట్ ని మనం ఎలా automate చేయాలో ఇప్పుడు చూద్దాం. Okay. So I'm navigating to, okay. So in my system already Eclipse already installed. Once Eclipse is installed, just go and search for the Eclipse and click on open. And click on launch button. See, on the left hand side, you are able to see a project name called, okay. So there is a project. So there is a project, okay, Selenium 44 project, it's already there. How to create a new project in Eclipse, that part we can discuss in tomorrow's class. Let us assume there is a project folder is already available. Okay. So the moment when I will create the project folder, automatically all these folder structure, it will come automatically. So how to create the project part we can discuss in tomorrow's class. Let us assume there is a project, it's already there. And these are the folder structure, it will come automatically. So I'm expanding SRC test Java. So here, after expanding SRC test Java, here I can able to see so many things here. This is nothing but these are, we can call it as a package. Package means it's just like a folder in a project. So means a package contains several programs. See, this package contains several programs. So every package contains some several programs. Okay. So like that, so we can store a multiple programs in a package. So first of all, under SRC test Java, let me create a package name. So to create the package name, I have to right click and go to new and select package. Okay. And give the package name as module 1. So a package name will be created. See here, module 1 project package got created. And now let me create one more package. Right click, go to new package, module 2. Module 2. Don't give spaces. It won't allow like this. Okay. If you want to give some space, you can use underscore and 2 like this. So now I'm giving module 2. Spaces అనేది ఇవ్వకూడదు. అంటే క్యాపిటల్స్ ఇవ్వటం బెస్ట్ ప్రాక్టీస్, అలవాటు ఉంటుంది. స్మాల్ లెటర్స్ ఇస్తున్నారంటే వాళ్ళు ఫేక్ అని అర్థమైపోయింది. ఓకేనా? సో ఎప్పుడైనా మీరు రాసేటప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ లెటర్ క్యాపిటల్ ఇవ్వండి. ప్యాకేజ్ నేమ్ మరి. సో లైక్ దిస్ ఐ హావ్ క్రియేటెడ్ సమ్ ప్యాకేజెస్, module 1 and module 2. Okay. So under this package, guys, Zoom link is 40 minute session only. I'm going to share new link immediately after once the link is link time is only for 40 minutes. Once session is ended, I will share the new link. Everyone can join from that new link after completion of 10 minutes. Okay. And in module 1, so in this package, I want to create a Java class. I want to create a TestNG class. Okay. So just right click on this package, go to TestNG and click on create TestNG class. Okay. See, just you need to right click on this package, go to TestNG and click on create TestNG class. And here class name, I am giving TC01 underscore sum. Okay. Don't give spaces. TC01 underscore sum. And I'm clicking on finish. So module 1 contains a program called TC01 underscore sum.java class file got created. And automatically this code also populated automatically. I have not written this code. This code was populated automatically in TC01 underscore sum.java class file. Now let's understand what is this. After this curling bracket, I am pressing enter button. And after this curling bracket also, I am pressing enter button. So I am pressing enter button here. Okay. Now let's understand whatever class name TC01 underscore sum file name, and with the same name, the class name also populated. So file name, class name, it has to be same in the Java. Suppose if you try to give some different name, it will go error out. So it is not recommended. Whatever file name is there, you must have to ensure class name is also same. That is the thumb rule in Java. And a class can contain starting curling bracket and ending curling bracket. And a class can contain method. So method we can write like this: public void f means function or method. So you can write method name as sum of 2 numbers. You can write whatever you want, but don't give spaces. So that's why I'm giving space underscore. So I renamed my method name as sum of 2 numbers. What is the point? Right. So a class can contain a method. So how do you write the method name? Public void method name, curling bracket begin and curling bracket closed. Okay, public void method name, curling bracket begin and curling bracket closed. And a class can contain a declaration section. Very, very important. A class can contain declaration section. Suppose integer a comma b comma c. Okay. So these are the variables I am going to. So this section we can call it as a declaration section. Okay. So integer a comma b comma c. And the actual coding part I will write inside a method. So దీన్ని method అంటాము. Okay, we can call this one as a method. So the actual coding part I will write inside a method. So now let's see, A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, and C is equal to A plus B. And I want to print the value of C. So I'm writing a print statement like this: system.out.println, and within the double quotations I'm writing sum of A and B. So within the double quotation you can write whatever confirmation message you want. Sum of A and B is, okay, double quotation lo meer edaina raskondi, and plus the C value I want to write, so I'm writing plus C, and keep every line ends with semicolon in Java. So now I'm saving this program. So the declaration integer A, B, C. So whichever variables, we can call it as a variables, whichever variables you are going to use inside the method, you must have to declare it. Then only system will understand what is mean by A, B, C. Suppose if I will give some random value as Z, system it will throw some error it is showing. So if you want to use Z, you can declare it as Z and you can print that value. Okay. So you must have to declare those variables globally. Got it? Otherwise it will throw system errors will be generated. So whichever variables that you are going to use, you must have to declare. Okay. So now let's run this program. Run as testng test. So to execute the program, just you need to right click, do run as, and click on testng test. So now see, sum of A and B is, that value got printed in console. So this console section we can call it as the execution status, the program execution status. What is our method name? That's method name got, it is showing passed, and the output of the program it's got printed here. Sum of A and B is 30. Understood? Now tell me, Java file name and class name must have to be same or not?
Same.
It has to be same. If I will give some different name, it won't accept. Okay, you must have to give same name. And a class can contains, what are the sections it contains? Declaration section and methods.
Declaration section.
So whichever variables that you want to use,
Okay.
so whichever variables that you want to use, you must have to declare it in the declaration section. Otherwise it will throw error. Your program cannot be executed. అంటే మీరు ఏ వేరియబుల్స్ అయితే యూజ్ చేయాలనుకుంటున్నారో ప్రోగ్రామ్ లో, దీన్ని ఏమంటారు, యాక్చువల్ కోడింగ్ పార్ట్ వి విల్ రైట్ ఇన్సైడ్ ఏ మెథడ్. సో కోడింగ్ లో యూజ్ చేసే వేరియబుల్స్ అన్ని ఇక్కడ డిక్లరేషన్ లో ఉండాలి. సో దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ సింపుల్ జావా ప్రోగ్రామ్. ఓకే. సో నౌ లెట్స్ రైట్ ఎ శాంపిల్ ప్రోగ్రామ్, login program. So now I want to write a login program under this package. So now let me create a testng class. Right click, go to testng, click on create testng class, and let me give tc01 underscore login. Okay, and click on finish. So the file name and class name got populated same. Hello, చెప్పండి. ఎన్ని గంటలకి ఇవాళ నీ షెడ్యూల్ ఉందా? క్యాలెండర్ బ్లాక్ చేస్తుందా నీకు? అయితే వచ్చాను, 2 hours ముందు ఉండండి. అవును. So Java file name and class name both are same. So after creating the class, you must have to press enter key after every curling bracket. Curling bracket tarvata enter key kottandi. And here also I'm pressing enter key. So by default a method was populated, public void f. F means what I told? F ante function or method. So you can rename this method as login test. So itla nee space ichi raaycha login test ani?
No.
So you don't recommend it. Spaces are not recommended. So okay. So a class contains what are the sections I told?
Declaration method.
Declaration and method. So now
and
let
method.
so to write a command, Selenium commands. To write Selenium commands, guys, please go on mute. Somebody is talking. Disturbance for others. Okay. To write your Selenium programs, you must have to declare in the declaration section WebDriver driver. You have to declare WebDriver driver. Okay. To write your Selenium commands, the first statement in the declaration section, you have to write WebDriver driver. See here, WebDriver, it is showing some error. Okay. Just keep the mouse over here. So the moment when you will keep the mouse over, it is showing import WebDriver org open QS Selenium. So let me click on that. So when I am clicking on that, line number 3 got added automatically. So line number 3, 4, we can call it as a supporting libraries. Without supporting libraries, we cannot write our Selenium programs. Okay. See, when I am keeping the mouse over on WebDriver, it is asking to import WebDriver. So these are nothing but these lines we can call it as a supporting libraries. Without supporting libraries, we cannot able to write the programs. Okay, now let me go to line number 16. So line number 15 and right. So okay. So driver is equal to new Chrome driver. Driver is equal to new Chrome driver.